You are listening to Musician Today, weekly podcast with Vera Blumenko. Tune in for your insight into a professional musician's life and awesome new music. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Musician Today. Today's episode is very special to me personally too. The reason I started this podcast is because I wanted to bring to you guys the people that inspire me the most and share their life experience in the music industry. And today we have somebody who is personally my dear friend and who has been a catalyst in my own creative process. Someone that I have looked up to for years, someone who's really great at not only composing music, but bringing out the creative side in just about everyone he meets. So we have a composer, conductor, who has always had a stylistic yet unorthodox approach to music composition. From a young age, he was passionate and enthusiastic, pardon me guys, for music playing, piano, and writing short pieces. And he has studied at Royal Conservatory of Music, later Berklee College, and he's done a lot of stuff that I just can't list into one introduction, but I will try to do some of it, okay? So during his early teens, he was seduced by the power of rock and the awe of jazz, and it slowly found its way into his compositional practice and performance. Soon after, the young musician went on to pursue his studies at Berklee, earning a degree in film scoring by 2005. Then he made his orchestral conducting debut, working rehearsals and guest conducting the Athens Symphony Orchestra. He went on to premiere his piece entitled Gloria in Terapa for strings orchestra and choir with the ASO and the National Technical University of Athens Choir in Greece. From there, he has gone to conduct and rehearse a variety of orchestras and ensembles on an international platform. Over the years, he has worked composing music for a wide variety of notable filmmakers, bands, solo artists, dancers, engineers, producers, ensembles, and orchestras. Creatively outpouring music in a multitude of genres, working exclusively with film music, jingles, songwriting, arranging, chamber music, as well as composing large-scale orchestral pieces. His work has been met with praise and admiration as he continues to inspire both audiences and colleagues. In 2009, his 44th String Quartet was premiered at the 50th anniversary of Mark Motors, Porsche, and Audi celebrations. And in 2011, he won Best Score at the Aphrodite Cinefest International for Da Capo, which we're going to hear today, guys. So this is a short film that I had the pleasure of hearing inside my classes at York University too. So then, having written and arranged over 10,000 pieces, he continues to learn, write, and conduct, and produce. He has taught at the faculty of California State University in Northridge and currently works as a composer in Los Angeles. And wow, I'm out of breath. So I find it absolutely fascinating how you are able to do so many different things and perform and conduct and gig and support other artists and produce songs and film scores. As in, how do you do it? So welcome guys. I haven't named my guest yet. This is the amazing composer-producer Nadeem Majdalany tuning in from LA. So woohoo!
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yay!
Yeah, that's a lot. When you read it back and you say all that, I'm just like, whoa.
I know. It's just like when someone reads your bio, you don't realize how much you've done.
There's still about 8 more years missing from that. So
yeah, I know. I just tried to keep it short because we would be here all day.
Oh, it's totally,
well, we can talk
fine.
about your current projects. Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, but yeah, how I balance all of that, it's I don't know. I think it comes time you really have to. Something I learned over the years is good time management skills, and the way I kind of have taken in everything is I've really I've said yes to a lot of projects, but at the same time, I've been very selective on what I've been able to do and manage, and what suits my musical personality the best.
Yes.
Because you have to, if you're really catering your writing to one specific avenue, then that's great. But for me, I'm always diversifying. I'm always changing.
Yes.
I'm always shifting the colors and the tones of my writing. Depends on the day. Depends on, how good the coffee was in the morning. So many factors that kind of play into that, your mood, what's going on in the world, and kind of, if you feel like writing a song about it, then write a song about it. If you feel like, channeling some of that into a film you're working on, then do that. But, it's really been a very chameleon-like process with me, and I've been very, very blessed to say that it's worked out very well. But time management is very important thing, which I did not have at the beginning, and it made me nuts, and it made me lose focus. And I feel like once I reestablished like pillars of time and what I knew was able to be done in that, I was able to take on more and execute it to the highest caliber and quality that I could.
That's amazing. Wow. Well, I know that your journey has not been the easy one, that there have been struggles along the way. And what would you say were probably some of the most difficult decisions you have to make on your path towards achieving basically what you're doing now?
I would say,
in terms of balancing, balancing your life versus something else.
It's a really tough one, but honestly, it's I would say balancing relationships has been the most difficult one. It's we'd like to think everyone is a good friend, but not everyone is, and then sometimes friendships and certain people can be toxic. And I think where some people, the strength of everything comes into defining what is in your best interest of that, and who really has a genuine, sincere outlook to your well-being as well as theirs. It's all about a balance.
Of course.
And sometimes people, that I've come across, but they enjoy being miserable, and they want everyone to be
the same.
Miserable with them.
That's true. Well, one thing I can guarantee you guys.
That kind of brought me down a different, darker path, and when I was able to really kind of restructure and refocus myself in my life, things turned around in a very, very positive, most excellent way. So
yes, absolutely. Well, you guys, if you've never worked with Nadeem or have never heard his music, he's one of the people that will take genuinely good care of you and your project. He can produce, he can write, he can compose, he can just work around what you need, and he will take genuinely good care of you as a person. And my favorite quote of this week is by Drew Ford, that viola kid. He said, "There's a huge ROI in being a good person," and that is 100% true. So you can find Nadeem on his website if you are interested in working and looking at some of his music, NadeemMajdalany.com, and we will talk about that more. Meanwhile, I would love to play one of your fresh produced tracks just out of the studio from the new album, and then we can listen a bit more to you speak about how it came together. All right?
Absolutely.
So here is Churning of the Ocean of Milk, and you guys are going to love this one, so enjoy. All right. Wow. That was so mystical, metaphysical. I love it. So, how do you approach a composition like this? So, how does it come together? Do you have like a clear strategy, or is it something that you kind of more feel through?
Yeah, so this piece, it's the third movement of an
Mhm.
11 movement work. The whole album is called Phoenix of Atlantis,
Nice.
and it comes out this Sunday. So
Woohoo! Way to
that's
go.
it said. Yeah, this Sunday, Phoenix of Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to phoenixofatlantis.com and it'll give you all the links. Yeah, and it goes live Sunday. And this is the
Excellent.
third movement called Churning of the Ocean of Milk.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about a story of, a, of ancient times. The gods and the demons were at war, and the gods desired to become immortal, and so they needed to find the nectar of immortality.
Ooh.
So, to make a long story short, they needed to team up with the demons, their enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And they were told in order to find this nectar, they had to work together with their enemies to churn the ocean of milk. And so
Wow.
in the album, each movement has a nice kind of story companion and
Yes.
describes it. When I approach this, I'm getting a little feedback from you
Oh,
on the
sorry.
microphone. Yeah, it's okay. When I approached this, there was like a nice arc to the whole structure of it, and I took each movement and I really broke it down, and I had a plan of attack when I was writing each one.
Mm-hmm.
And this one in particular means a lot to me because there's a lot of curated pitches and instrumentation that I use in it that I I have very strong personal feelings about. There's a lot of harp in there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a soprano. There's a lot of percussion, French horn, and some nice clarinet parts that are written in kind of a multiphonic way.
Beautiful.
And so you could visualize a lot when you listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
This giant, vast ocean being churned, and there's the motion of the churning rod and the snake that's wrapped around it, and you have this darker side, and you have like these light parts that kind of
Absolutely.
intermix and flow over each other.
I love
Uh,
that. I love the contrast. Like, I know a lot of artists who work in specific genres, but to me, I admire people who go into that darker side, right? The one that's deeper. Like, when you are seeing someone's work from your first perspective, you kind of see, oh, that's like the tip of the iceberg, right? But there's always a deeper side to this. So I absolutely love the dark texture. That's amazing. Thank you.
yeah, it's there's a lot. It's when you look when you first approach the piece, listening to it, you're at the apex of it, and you're just kind of taking it in
Mm-hmm.
as an oral work. But as you kind of like go further, deeper down to the base of it, there's a story, and you envision a lot of the story in there. One of my friends, he listened to the sixth movement, which is the title track, Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
He had told me he's a graphic designer, and he told me, he goes, "Oh, he goes, I can see the bird, I can see the phoenix, I can
Yes. Yes,
see the
absolutely.
story in there." And that's kind of where I'm going with this. Is like this visual storytelling that you can't see. So it's just for
Absolutely.
your ears. It's like a story for your ears, and you can really take it in.
And guys,
Uh,
by the way, the scores for this music also look amazing. So I'm looking at another movement from the album, 11-Fold Labyrinth. And this one looks literally like a warped sort of like labyrinth. And being familiar with this idea way back in our school days, I know it's meant to be performed by moving musicians. There's a lot of movement. So, and the score itself, it looks fantastic. It looks like a graphic element from a movie. So when you look at it, it actually tells you how you're supposed to be moving. So that's really impressive.
For the listeners right now, you can't see what you're seeing, but I will tell you that when you're looking at it, it's a labyrinth.
Mm-hmm.
There's 11 systems of music.
Mm-hmm.
If you count them going counterclockwise is how they go 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way through 11. And if you look at it and you're just staring at it directly, it's supposed to resemble an eye of Horus in its design.
That's what it is. No wonder it looks familiar.
And it has like this familiarity to it. And now I designed the piece to be played with 3 dice. One is an 11-sided die, which is incredibly difficult to make. And the other dice tells you the speed, whether it's from largo to presto, and the other one tells you the dynamic, whether it's from pianissimo to fortissimo.
Nice.
You take these 3 dice, you roll them into an 11-sided ring. I call the hendecagon. And whatever fate decides for you to play is how you play that piece. So on the track, you have 11 players playing whatever the dice dictated to them to be played at that moment in time.
Wow. So it's like a complete creation in the process.
Yes. So every time the piece is played, and I'm a big fan of I have many compositions like this where it's almost aleatoric, but it's not. So it's a little bit controlled. So there's like controlled aleatoricism, and I like to be able to have a little bit of control of the outcome of the piece and kind of like structure some parameters and constraints for the players to enjoy. So
yeah, well, I love that too. To me, I think the person who did that was Cage. Yeah, it was John Cage, right? And
there's been many.
There's been many, and he also did some prepared piano. If I heard correctly, you have a book coming out on prepared piano.
Yes, there is I've been over the last 10 years cataloging all my for both grand piano and upright. So it's going to be 2 sections.
Nice.
I've been cataloging I use on my film scores. I use in my compositions. I even have some studies, a book about some studies, all the different elements that you could put into a piano to give it certain tones, give it certain colors and textures. Because from a young age, I think I was about 16, 17, I fell in love with prepared piano. And I just wanted to know it. And I wanted to know everything about it. I wanted to know all the different tonal aspects, what to get from there. So I've just been cataloging everything over the years. And I have a book out in January, end of January-ish.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. And it will be available, and it will tell everyone everything they need to know about prepared piano.
That's fantastic. Well, I love that too. I often show my students, we stick some like bolts and screws and erasers and pencils into it and see what sounds it makes. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm sure that one of us will get the book and do a little bit more of study on that. So
I think you'll like, because it shows you exactly how far up the string to put a certain specific screw, how many turns to put it in. So many different things that you can do. And I in the Phoenix of Atlantis album, I have some prepared timpani on certain movements. Some things I've done to the timpani parts which were played by MB Gordy,
Mm-hmm.
and we put one of my favorite things to do, I like to fill a balloon with marbles and put
Oh.
up and attach it to the timpani, and it makes a very cool snare, rattle, shaking sound as the timpani is being played. So it's fun.
Wow. Well, I can't wait to
Yeah.
hear that. That'll be
Yeah.
amazing. Okay, so why don't we listen to one more song and just to show the difference. So this is the album that is very metaphysical and mythologically inspired, but let's have a listen to another one that I have heard about 10 years ago. So here is Da Capo. Wow, so a huge difference.
Yeah. I was more the jazzy side.
Yes, I can hear the jazz influence for sure. And this was a short film.
Yes, this was a back in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
I did this. This was a short film that I did myself. I got a few friends together to help me out, but I wanted to try my hand at kind of telling my own story about a composer who just gets some writer's block, and there's so much noise and chaos around that it kind of drowning, kind of drowning a bit in his, own ideas, own thoughts,
Right.
and just kind of clearing everything out and starting again from the beginning, where we get da capo from. Helps everything kind of
Right.
center it. He finds the missing inspirational push that he needs to complete his project, complete his musical task that he has to do.
Amazing.
And,
It's like a real life story.
it is a real life story, and I think it's something that's relatable to everyone. It's just where life around you there's so much noise, and the walls are closing in, and
Yes.
just things that feel like, that just there's too much. I think just having the ability to step back a little bit and clear things out and
Right.
gain a little perspective.
Tune out the noise and listen to your inner voice. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of writing silence into my
Yes.
scores, my work. I have an opera I wrote many years ago, and there's a thematic silence that happens in every movement of the opera. Every 21st measure is a measure of silence.
Oh, amazing. I love that.
And I have that there specifically as kind of like a palate cleanser. It's like if you're sitting down to enjoy a multi-course meal, don't want to have the lingering bits, just sitting before you and take a next bite. Want to kind of cleanse your palate a bit. And so I do that. I do that, for your ears. You kind of cleanse ears a bit in the listening process, and it helps you enjoy the next movement a little bit better.
Right. So it makes you actually listen more closely and intently.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Very good. I love the silences too. And remember when I was in our program back at York, I would also write stuff that is more spacious and meditative, as opposed to the music that I perform for people, which is totally different. It's entertainment, right? So I absolutely love that, because there's so much noise. There's so many voices from the outside telling you what you should do, what you shouldn't do. So it's important to take that step back and just listen to you, listen to what's genuinely true for you. And bringing us to the next question, actually, how did you figure out that composing music is what you want to do for the rest of your life? Was there a specific project that kind of pushed you to believe that this is it, this is what I want to do?
Oh yeah. It kind of so started when I was young. I wrote my first piece. I was I started learning piano pretty late in life. I started on the piano, and I was about 8 years old when I started. So
Well, I don't think that's late. I started when I was 7.
people often say, "Oh, that's pretty late," They're like, so.
No way, it's never too late.
I took to it rather quickly, and I wrote my first. I was composing before I was able to get my, the proper fingering and the proper playing technique.
Same here. I hear you.
Yeah, so I didn't, I was able to know the notes, and I knew where they were, so I would write them down. I actually composed on staff paper, and I wrote my first piece, and then I wrote my first song, which I think was terrible, shortly after, which is basically just a poem that I set to just some chords with a little melody. And I really enjoyed it, but I have to say that the problem was I did not like practicing, and practicing made me sort of not want to do this, but then I had a great piano teacher, Colin Mack, in Ottawa, who was very inspiring, and he's gave me so much music. It wasn't just classical music; it was everything. And I had listened to Jerry Lee Lewis playing piano, and I said, "That's what I want to do.
Yay!
That's what I want to do." So then it got me back into practicing, and then learning, doing like little flourishes and these fast passages. I was able to put those into Mozart pieces, and Beethoven pieces, and Chopin pieces, and kind of combine the two worlds together, which made me want to practice more. And then as I kind of grew into being a teen, I composed more and more and more, and then I would just like compose more feeling-based pieces. And then I think, it kind of just fashioned itself, and I was like, this is what I want to do. And I was fortunate enough to get accepted into Berklee College of Music. And then that kind of, everything went right in the vein I had hoped it to be, because professor there really brought out the best of my musical abilities, and I was absolutely certain that that's what I wanted to do.
That's amazing. Yay. Well, I'm sure many of us can relate to that too. And I can completely relate to the fact that I was able to hear and transcribe music before I was playing it well. So I think that's just a sign that you are genuinely a composer, right?
Well, I love to think so.
All right.
That's
Why
nice.
don't we, guys, hear something that's actually feeling based and very different from the two songs we've heard so far. It's a short sample, 1 minute, but I just wanted to show you guys that Nadeem can produce anything in a style of such as electric disco. So here we go. Yay, that was fun. That's the kind of stuff I play at gigs.
So yeah, that's a lot of the work I do. I write a lot. Write a lot of background instrumental tracks for a bunch of reality TV shows. I've had work on MTV, MTV2, HBO, Oprah Network, History Channel, CBS, Fox. So
Yeah, amazing. Well, we love it. We love it all.
I'm sure I think the networks, but it's been a lot. I've been doing that. That was kind of a new avenue of making a living in music as a composer that came to me back in 2013. I started working with my publisher, and he has been doing such an amazing job and just really getting my music to the right networks and the right music providers, and it's been doing really well, my catalog. And I think you have to be able, as a composer and a musician, you have to really be able to know your style and sound and what you're passionate about, but you have to be able to work with others and cater to their needs. You're going to have success as a composer, I think. You know, you have to be able to listen.
Yes, absolutely. So if you are doing something for a project, for a client, that's one thing. If you're writing for just yourself, that's a different story.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. When you're writing for yourself, you can write whatever you want. It is for you. It is it's in your heart, it's in your mind, it's, you know, it's all of you going into something. It's what you're passionate about. But when you're working with someone, you have to be humble enough to put that aside and listen more. But at the same time, you have to keep what makes you uniquely you as a composer. You have to be able to bring that to the project, because that's what that person, that's that spark that person really liked about you. So if it's a particular instrument, like if you play the electric didgeridoo, and you want to, you know, you do that in a lot of your projects, and you bring that into something, you know, that's what that person wanted. You just have to be able to stylistically adapt it to what they need, what their needs are for their project.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I guess that's the balance between doing stuff you love and doing something professionally that will establish you in the genre or in the industry as altogether.
It's a tough medium to
Yes.
to kind of balance yourself between. But when you know, I'm still, you know, still trying to balance that out myself. You know, I haven't gotten that down quite yet, but I've made progress in that, and it's been successful, and you know, it's a matter of
Right. It's
really,
a lifetime process, isn't it? Wouldn't you say that?
yeah. And you know, kind of going back and forth between a bunch of topics. Electric guitar, for example, is an instrument that I love abundantly. I love working with it in all my scores and everything.
Yes.
And also, I've recently found a way to incorporate it into classical chamber music, because, you know, the electric guitar is a 20th century instrument.
Yes.
And we rarely use it in classical music, and we're in the 21st century.
Well, unless you're Malmsteen, then you can do it all.
on the album Mix of Atlanta, there's a great company called Electrophonic Guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And the founder of the company, his name's Andy. He's wonderful. He and I were talking about uses of electric guitar in there, and one of my guitarist, who's in a band, Eternally Chords, he ended up playing it. And what makes this guitar unique, the electrophonic guitar, is that it has a built-in amp system and effects system in it.
Wow.
So it can actually be played in an ensemble setting. It can be played, you know, on the stage with chamber players without having to lug around all that bulky amplification equipment, you know, without looking for a PA or anything. So it can actually sit in, and you could adjust the volume with all your chamber musicians, and you can start to incorporate that into 21st century compositions, classical compositions. And I feel that, you know, we should start incorporating that. And that's where my rock and roll and classical music side kind of fuse together, because I love that instrument so much, and I feel that we need to write for it more within that. And I feel that electrophonic guitars finally made an instrument that has the ability and capability to do that. So on movement number 4 of Phoenix of Atlantis, you'll be able to hear that in the chamber.
Amazing. I wish they made violins that way.
You know, maybe that's what you need to do. Maybe
that's my new thing, yeah.
That's your $1 billion idea.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, guys, why don't we listen to one more? This one, to me, sounds more cinematic, so just to show you the kind of effect you can get in a movie. So this is called What Is in This House? And you'll see why. That bass drone at the end, it really creeps you out.
Oh, that's perfect, because that was the intent.
It's a horror track, yeah.
That's a film. I did a feature film called Paradise Prey. Actually, I apologize. The title has changed. It's called Deadly Excursion.
Got it.
And it's a film by Brian Spiva, and it was really an awesome kind of thriller that I really enjoyed scoring. It's about a mom and her daughter. She takes her on a spring break, and they end up getting abducted. And in case someone wants to watch it, I don't want to spoil it, but
okay, we will.
Not get out of the situation, right? So.
Well, that sounds fantastic. So I hear the difference between the first track we played today. Was the first track still a demo from your album? The ones you sent me in your album are still demos. Is that right?
No, they're not.
Oh, it's just a different texture. Wow, that's a huge difference.
The album is contemporary classical chamber music. So it's written in a totally different stylistic approach.
Yes, because it sounded more live to me. It sounded like it was right here.
Yeah, and it's mixed differently and everything. The one that you just heard now is film score, and that is also totally different. And because that has to suit the scene, it has to sit in the background of everything, but it has to be. It's very interesting because it has to be in the background, but it also has to
be present enough.
And I have a great music partner in crime, Toby Carlin at Humblebird Music. And he and Toby mixed all of this score. And he and I also we write some tracks together, and we do some pieces for licensing, and he's one of my really close friends. I've known Toby for over 10 years now, and he's absolutely wonderful to work with. And in the same kind of vein of working with people, there's another group of guys called Foreign Ears that I've just recently started working with, and they are absolutely amazing at what they do. They have a whole analog approach to music composition and making tracks, and right now we're doing some electronic trap music.
Nice. I could hear a bit of that in the score here. There was a little bit of electronic elements.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. I use a lot of analog synths. I'm an artist with Arturia, so I use a lot of their products. I have a matrix that I love, and I have a lot of Roland gear as well that I'm a huge fan of. So
fantastic. Speaking of artists, so the next song we're gonna play is actually a song, like something you would hear on the radio. So why don't we have a look, right? This one.
Yeah, before we play that, the girls singing that song are they're actually Canadian. They're Carmen and Camille, and I do a lot of songwriting with them, and I absolutely cannot speak and praise them higher. They are absolutely a joy to work with, and I recommend you listen to all of their music because they're absolutely wonderful.
Carmen and Camille. Great.
Carmen and Camille. Yes.
Great. We will listen. So there you go, guys.
I've been acting a little crazy, and I've been drinking heavy, but you're not making this easy on me. You got a fast tongue and a slow brain. You should hear some of the shit you say. Oh well, it won't make no difference anyway. I can't change you, I wish I could. Why am I trying? I wish I wouldn't. You make me so damn mad, so damn madly in love with you. Tried to walk a mile in your shoes. I keep tripping on the lace. Oh hell, all I see is your beautiful stupid face. You left me standing with your champagne, soaked and drenched in my own tear stains. Oh well, lucky in LA, 'cause they say it never rains. I can't change you, I wish I could. Why am I trying? I wish I wouldn't. You make me so damn mad, so damn madly in love with you. I've been acting a little crazy. Yeah, I've been drinking heavy, but hell, you're not making this easy on me. You deal a quick hand, play a slow game, watching the world dancing in the flames. Oh well, all the feels are running through my veins. I can't change you, I wish I could. Why am I trying? I wish I wouldn't. You make me so damn mad, so damn madly in love with you. Oh, I can't change you, I wish I could. Why am I trying? I wish I wouldn't. You make me so damn mad, so damn madly in love with you.
Love it. So it's so
Yeah.
soulful at the same time, eerie, I guess. Yeah. So what was your process like when you write for an artist? What do you do? Do you guys meet and discuss the ideas first, or do you kind of give them a, yeah.
This one is, so there's two approaches. So this one I wrote, I wrote for myself here.
Oh.
You know, it's just like as a writing, it wasn't written for a particular artist, but you know, I am definitely going to kind of shop it around for, you know, an artist to record it. Carmen and Camille were great for demoing the vocals on it, and they always do such an amazing job, and I love how they did it. This one kind of, you know, it's just when I sit down to songwrite, it's just it's almost like a meditative process when I'm doing it for myself, and just kind of like writing about a story or like a particular, I take little snippets of, you know, the carousel of my life, and I
Yes.
just kind of reflect on that in song. But when I'm writing for an artist specifically, I like to sit down with them, and how I approach it, because I've written with Carmen and Camille specifically, and I just tell them, okay, tell me a story. What are you feeling today?
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of draw off of that, and either I'm sitting near my guitar. I have some guitars, and each guitar has a different kind of feel. I guess it's kind of hard to say, but every time I pick up a guitar, it has like a different storytelling momentum to it. And when I sit at the keyboard or piano, I just kind of like, okay, here's a chord I'm vibing with right now. Let's kind of work something around there.
Mm-hmm.
And just sort of everything kind of just collapses on itself all at once, and then there's a song, a couple of hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. You know, the funny thing is too, last time we met, after that, I guess it rubbed off on me. I've written like 10 songs. So you definitely have that influence on people, like you kind of tap into the creative process. So it's no surprise that you can just like do that in 2 hours.
Yeah.
All right. So
it's just kind of, I mean, it's odd, but every time I've sat down to write a song,
yeah,
it's started from nothing to a full song in
Yeah.
2 hours. It's very weird, and it's always timed out at 2
yeah.
hours.
You know what? I like that too. I like to kind of like start and finish in one session, because it's often difficult to tap into the same feeling when you come back to it later. So you kind of like at least have the whole thing written down in some draft form, right? And then you can, of course, produce it, embellish it, whatever. But yeah, that's so true, because like usually a song like this, it's a specific feeling, right? So, and you want to keep that going instead of coming back to it later. So completely agree.
It's I mean, it's a different kind of it's a different kind of end experience, because every time I finish, like when I finish a film score, I have a whoa feeling. When I finish like writing a chamber piece, I have a ooh feeling, and when I finish writing a song, I have a that's
that's right, because it serves different purpose, right? A film score is like the one we heard today is definitely to like frighten you, get you into that action mode, right? But a song like this is definitely like to kind of, you know, mend your heart sort of thing.
right, yeah.
So yeah, absolutely, I love it. So we're getting very close to our end time, but before we go, we really would like to hear what would be the one thing that you kind of leave us with as an ultimate piece of advice for a young composer trying to get into the industry and being, you know, film composer, producer, sort of like you. What do you think is the most important thing they need to be thinking about?
Well, I would definitely say keep writing, and don't close yourself off to genres. Don't keep yourself open. Listen to everything, because you never know when you're going to hear something that's going to inspire a new writing technique or a new instrument you might want to include. You know, there's so many vibrant and wonderful instruments from all around the world that really play an important part in the compositional process, beyond the traditional Western instruments that can really redefine your composing palette.
Absolutely, yeah.
Also, I mean, I would say definitely kind of put yourself in short films, commercials, jingles, features, songwriting. I would keep swinging at everything you do, every kind of musical ball that comes your way, because you know, you might surprise yourself, and you know, if you never thought of yourself as a songwriter and you do a song and then you start going places, you know, you're a songwriter. So you know, that also write for smaller chamber groups and solo instruments, because your writing sounds so different from larger orchestral scale stuff, and I feel like a lot of film composers just jump into doing the big score sound without really kind of working in different smaller section groups and seeing what kind of sounds and colors they can get out of there, because that can really be an important tool in your arsenal in composing, especially when budgets are not as luxurious as we would like them to be. So
yes, completely agree. Actually, writing for chamber or solo instruments, in my experience also at school, was that it actually opened you up to far more creative ideas, because you have only a limited number of things to juggle with, and it actually prompts you to be more creative.
Yeah, and you know what? The other thing is it exposes you. It leaves you vulnerable as a writer, because it really the colors you use might not be as colorful as you thought they were, and you might have to go back and reevaluate a few things, and you become a better writer that way.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Nadeem, so much. You guys, you have to connect with Nadeem and listen to his beautiful music. And if you have not yet heard it, you can find him on his website at nadeemmajdalany.com. It's NadeemMajdalany.com. And Instagram, send him a message at hashtag Majdalany, or you can find him on his rft.co real Majdalany scores. So if you know how to get through that, I'm honestly reading this from the page. So
it's a tough last
yeah,
name.
rcrft.co/real/Majdalany/scores. So his music is all there, and you have an incredible library to enjoy. On IMDb, find him by name. Just type in my IMDb, Nadeem Majdalany. Facebook, find him by name again, Nadeem.Majdalany. And where is your album going to be again?
So the album is coming out Sunday. It'll be available iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, everywhere music is.
And on your
streamed
website
and
too.
Sold. And it is Phoenix of Atlantis.
Phoenix of Atlantis.
I'm very excited about this because the music and the story. We've had so many wonderful musicians on it. The ninth movement is an operatic movement, and it features Christine Halls and Ed Saeed. He's a baritone. It's a baritone and spinto soprano duet.
Amazing.
The seventh movement is a percussion ensemble suite. The fifth movement is a piano suite. The sixth movement is solo cello with bass flute and bass clarinet. There's a wide variety of colors and sounds and characters that play into this arcing album, and I think you'll really enjoy it.
We can't wait.
Thank you.
I can't wait. I'm going to be downloading and listening to everything.
Another thing, there is also the album features a giant hammer that I had built by Isaac Zegner Designs. He and I sat down because I wanted a Mahler hammer. And unfortunately, there were not many places in LA that would loan me their Mahler hammer. So I designed and built my own, and I had Isaac. I commissioned him to build me this giant hammer that is featured in the album.
That's amazing. I want a hammer too.
I call it the Majdalany hammer.
Nice.
And you will definitely hear it. It is featured in a few movements, but predominantly in the ninth movement, the opening of the ninth movement.
That's amazing. So do you have to be a Majdalany to wield it?
No, I think you have to be worthy.
Yes. Okay, well, fantastic. Thank you so much, Nadeem, for tuning in today. We're so grateful, and I'm personally so happy to bring you guys someone who has been a role model in my career, and you can now see why. You can tap into all of this and enjoy his music. Send him a message on Instagram. Look for his album. It comes out soon, so we really can't wait. And thank you so much for your personal stories, for your advice, for your experience. I really hope we can connect again in a couple of months, or when you have a next stage of your project complete.
Maybe towards the end of the year, maybe around after American Thanksgiving.
All right. Okay, let's do it, because we can't wait to hear about the process and how it turns out and what do you have next happening. It's really exciting. So as always, my pleasure. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon. Have an amazing day.
Absolutely. Thank you. You as well. Thank you for having me.
All right. Bye. That's all, folks. If you like Iron Fiddle songs, download them at peterbermenke.com/music. See you next time.